Hello and a very warm welcome to the brand new edition of Parliament This Week, your weekly roundup of all important developments in Parliament. I'm Kriti Mishra and now let's begin the show. After a mere 9.5% productivity in the first week of the second half of budget session of Parliament, Rajya Sabha saw an upward spike of 82.6% productivity in the second week. Take a look.
In the 3 days of sitting scheduled for this week, the House sat for 13 hours and 38 minutes against the scheduled 16 hours. Though the House lost 5 hours and 51 minutes, the members skipped lunch and sat for extra hours for 3 hours and 58 minutes, resulting in an effective loss of only 1 hour and 53 minutes. Out of the 2 hours of question hour scheduled, 1 hour was successfully completed this week. On 13th March 2020, 9 starred questions were raised during question hour. Question hour on 11th March 2020 was lost due to forced adjournment, while on 12th March 2020 it was dispensed with to take up the government's legislative business. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2020, the Mineral Laws Amendment Bill 2019 were introduced, discussed and passed by the House on 12th March 2020. One Mali Bill, the Direct Tax Vivad Se Vishwas Bill 2020 was introduced, discussed and returned to Lok Sabha on 13th March 2020. The House also agreed to amendments made by Lok Sabha to the Constitution Scheduled Tribes Order Amendment Bill 2019 on 11th March 2020. One suo motu statement regarding situation of Indians stranded in Iran due to COVID-19 was made by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on 11th March 2020. A short duration discussion on the recent law and order situation in some parts of Delhi was taken up on 12th March. The discussion lasted 4 hours and 15 minutes and saw the participation of 21 members, with Home Minister Amit Shah replying. 19 zero-hour submissions and 7 special mentions were also taken up during the week. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Home Minister Amit Shah replied to short duration discussion in the Rajya Sabha and discussion under Rule 193 in the Lok Sabha on recent law and order situation in some parts of Delhi. Home Minister assured the members of Parliament that none of the culprits, irrespective of religion or political affiliation, will be spared.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah asserted that those who were responsible for the violence and those who conspired to trigger the riots would be punished. He informed the House that over 700 FIRs have been registered and more than 2,600 people arrested based on the evidence.
सदन को और सदन के माध्यम से देश को भी विश्वास दिलाने चाहता हूं कि दंगों के करने वाले, दंगों के लिए जिम्मेदार लोग और दंगों के लिए षड्यंत्र करने वाले लोग, चाहे किसी भी जाति के हो, किसी भी मजहब के हो, किसी भी पार्टी के हो, उनको बख्शा नहीं जाए। जो भी दोषित होगा उसको एक पारदर्शी वैज्ञानिक जांच के आधार पर कानून की अदालत के सामने खड़ा किया जाएगा और सिर्फ खड़ा नहीं किया जाएगा, प्रोसिक्यूशन एजेंसी जब तक कानून उनको दंडित न करे तब तक की सारी व्यवस्थाओं की चिंता बहुत गंभीरता और संजीदगी के साथ करे।
The Home Minister also clarified that the government would not seek any documents from an individual for the NPR, a UPA-era initiative that seeks to streamline the delivery of welfare services.
एनपीआर के लिए आप मेरे साथ कभी भी गुलाम नबी साहब आइए, 1 या 2 दिन की प्रायोरिटी में मैं आपको समय दे दूंगा और हम सार्थक चर्चा करेंगे, अधिकारियों को भी उपस्थित रखेंगे जिससे सारे भ्रमों का निरसन हो जाए। और बाद में मैं ये विनती सारे विपक्षी दलों को करता चाहूँ, बहुत हो गया, सीए और एनपीआर पर भ्रांति बंद करने का समय आ गया है।
In the Lok Sabha, Union Home Minister Amit Shah also defended the Delhi police and asserted that the role of police was appreciable as they stopped the violence to spread to other areas.
ये 20 लाख लोगों के बीच में जो दंगा हो रहा था, इसको दिल्ली में स्प्रेड नहीं होने देना, ये बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी थी और मैं मानता हूं कि इसको बहुत अच्छे तरीके से दिल्ली पुलिस ने निभाया है। ये हिंसा मान्यवर दिल्ली के 4% क्षेत्र और 13% आबादी तक सीमित रखने का काम दिल्ली पुलिस ने किया है। दिल्ली में कुल 203 पुलिस थाने हैं, उसमें से 12 थानों में हिंसा रुकी रही और भड़काने का प्रयास तो सब जगह हुआ था, परंतु ये 12 स्थानों तक हिंसा रुकी रही। मैं मानता हूं मान्यवर कि ये सबसे पहली जिम्मेदारी दिल्ली पुलिस के सर पर थी कि हिंसा को रोकना।
On the transfer of Justice Muralidhar a day after orders on Delhi violence, Home Minister said the orders is issued by the government on recommendations of the Supreme Court Collegium and that it was not related to Delhi violence case. Kriti Mishra's report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Cutting across party lines in both houses of parliament, members participated in the discussion. Here are some of the highlights.
आप प्लीज मत होने दीजिए ये, क्योंकि आप तो कहते हैं सबका विश्वास, सबका साथ, और कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि वो सबका विश्वास आप जो चाहते हैं आप ही पे ऊपर विश्वास उठ जाए। हम नहीं चाहते, हमारी सरकार है, वो विश्वास हम चाहते हैं कि बरकरार रहे।
जो कुछ हुआ, तमाम संगठनों के अकाउंट में पैसा आया और समय समय पे निकलता गया और उसी के साथ बहुत कुछ दिखता चला गया। क्या ये हमें समझ में नहीं आता कि यह षड्यंत्र कहां से शुरू हो रहा है? और मैं एक और बात कहना चाहता हूं, जब यह चीज आई है ना, अगर यह इस तरह की षड्यंत्र हमारे पड़ोस में की जा रही है तो कभी सीधे नहीं आता है, वो एक आवरण लेके आता है।
Today, I also want young India to take a look at the pictures of a judge when he's transferred from Delhi. Look at those pictures. You don't need a single word more to say. Enough said. It's another matter then you'll also get threatened in one floor of the house. Where are we headed, sir, today? Of course, these governments has achievements.
Sir, silence helps only the tormented and not tormentors and not the tormented. Who were silent, sir? The police. The police were involved in two things. Either they were silent spectators to the riots that were happening, or they charged and attacked those people who were protesting.
Please do not create this hateful environment. Please do not create this environment. This sovereign right of Parliament to decide must be upheld. And I think, sir, that is the essence of this. And incidents like Delhi must be avoided at all costs. Thank you.
कोई हथियार कत्ल नहीं करता। माफ कीजिएगा, बहुत लोग कह रहे थे हथियार रुकवा दो, हथियार। सर, हथियार कत्ल नहीं करता है, माहौल का जहर कत्ल करता है। ईंट से भी मारा जा सकता है, पत्थर से मारा जा सकता है, गला दबाया जा सकता है। सर, बुलेट नहीं चाहिए।
बेगुनाहों को मुजरिम ना बनाया जाए, मुजरिमों को छोड़ा ना जाए। एक जुडिशियल कमीशन होना चाहिए, कोई एसआईटी से नहीं होगा। सुप्रीम कोर्ट देखे कि जांच निष्पक्ष है। जिन्होंने षड्यंत्र किया, जिन्होंने दंगा की, जिन्होंने हत्या की, जिन्होंने घर जलाए, उस हर दोषी को सजा हिंदुस्तान के कानून के तहत दी जाए।
I request a judicial commission under the monitoring of Supreme Court or a Supreme Court judge should be inquired in these incidents. We want to culminate, we want to bring peace in this area and confidence among the people at early as possible.
मैं उन सब लोगों से कहना चाहता हूं जो इस प्रतिस्पर्धा में पड़ते हैं कि 84 में इतना हुआ था तो 2002 में इतना हुआ और जो कमी रह गई अब हम उसे 2020 में पूरा करेंगे। ये कोई बहुत हेल्दी ट्रेंड कम से कम विचार विमर्श करने का या बहस का नहीं है।
गृह मंत्री कह देगा 35 के ऊपर काम करेंगे तो करेंगे। गृह मंत्री कहेगा सीए आएगा और 1 इंच भी पीछे नहीं हटकेगा तो नहीं होगा। गृह मंत्री कहेगा एनपीआर आएगा तो एनपीआर आएगा और गृह मंत्री कहेगा दंगाइयों को सजा मिलेगी तो आप मान लेना एक एक दंगाई को सजा मिलेगी, चाहे वो किसी भी धर्म का हो।
इस दंगे में बंदूक और गोलाबारी से भी कहीं अधिक घातक साबित हुआ। आप मुझे बताइए किसके घर के ऊपर लोहे के एंगल को जमाकर गुलेल रखी जाती है और एक साजिश के तहत हर 10वें घर के ऊपर एक गुलेल पाई गई, हर 10वें घर को इंगित करके एक गुलेल पाई गई और ईंटों का जखीरा शायद दिल्ली ने पहले कभी नहीं देखा था। ऐसा ईंटों का जखीरा जो है वो भी यहां पे पाया गया कि निगम के सफाई कर्मचारियों को समझ नहीं आया कि ये सड़क बनाने की कुवैत है कि बोरियों में भरकर उनको ऊपर ले जाया गया।
दंगा में ना हिंदू का जय होते हैं ना मुसलमान का विजय होते हैं, लेकिन इंसानियत जरूर पराजय होते हैं। पराजय अगर होते हैं तो इंसानियत की पराजय होते हैं। तो ये दंगा में, दिल्ली की दंगा में अगर किसी को पराजय हुए हैं वो हमारा इंसानियत की पराजय है।
नहीं करना चाहता हूं, लेकिन ये जानना चाहता हूं कि क्या डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के दौरे के उस वक्त में अपने देश में हिंसा निर्माण करे और उनको दिखा दे कि भारत में शांति नहीं है। ऐसी एजेंसी जो अपने देश में काम करने वाली है उनका खोज करना, उनके ऊपर पाबंदी लाना अपने सारे एजेंसी का काम है, शासनकर्ता का भी काम है। जब वहां पाकिस्तान के आतंकवादी अड्डे उद्ध्वस्त करने में हमारी सेना सफल होती है, तो दिल्ली में ये आतंकवादी कार्रवाई करने वाले लोगों को पाबंदी लाने में असफलता क्यों प्राप्त हुई, ये हमें जानकारी करने का हमारा अधिकार है।
Amid the coronavirus scare, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar assured Parliament that government is committed to safety and return of all Indians stranded in Iran. Take a look.
Making a statement in Rajya Sabha on the Indians stranded due to restrictions placed in the wake of coronavirus outbreak, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said that India sent a team of doctors to Italy to test nationals before bringing them back home.
As government started receiving information about the spike in coronavirus cases in Iran, as a precautionary measure, direct flights between India and Iran were temporarily suspended with effect from 27 February. Advisories were issued to avoid travel and returning passengers were started to be screened. This is an ongoing exercise. Our embassy in Tehran and consulates in Bandar Abbas and Zahedan naturally reached out immediately to Indian nationals in Iran to ascertain their welfare. An advisory was issued asking our nationals to observe appropriate precautions. Emergency contact details of the Indian mission were put out. Embassy and consulate officials have been reassuring Indian nationals and ensuring they are in good health and had adequate provisions.
The minister said India has brought back 58 citizens from Iran. Jaishankar added a team of 6 health officials was deputed to Iran in order to set up testing and sampling facilities there. He informed that 108 samples were received in India on 7th of March and that 58 Indians, including 25 men, 31 women and 2 children, were repatriated in a special flight on 10th of March.
Over the last few days, government has been making focused efforts for the safe return of stranded Indians. Given the scale of COVID-19 infection and its pressures on Iran's own resources, a team of 6 Indian health officials has been deputed to Iran in order to set up testing and sampling facilities there. The first batch of 108 samples were received in India on 7 March. These were tested and 58 Indian pilgrims, 25 men, 31 women and 2 children who tested negative were repatriated in a special IAF C-17 flight on 10 March. We have also received samples of 529 more Indians on this flight, which are being tested in the National Institute of Virology, Pune.
Several Rajya Sabha members expressed their views on spread of novel coronavirus and also suggested ways for evacuating stranded Indians abroad. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu also said in the upper house that there was no need to panic amid the coronavirus outbreak. Here are the highlights.
Honourable members, I urge all of you to reach out to people, asking them to exercise caution about coronavirus without panicking by maintaining sanitation and other measures as is being advised by the government and the World Health Organization. Members, in particular, shall also be careful while meeting and greeting people, especially while dealing with people who have recently travelled in and out of the country, including foreigners. Now that the WHO has declared COVID-19 a pandemic, our country needs to take lead in containing the spread of coronavirus, and it is the collective responsibility of all of us.
Rajya Sabha passed the Direct Tax Vivad Se Vishwas Bill 2020. This bill has already been passed by the Lok Sabha and provides for a resolution mechanism for cases pertaining to direct taxes in the country. Take a look.
The Upper House on Friday returned the Direct Tax Vivad Se Vishwas Bill 2020 to the Lok Sabha. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said the bill would pave the way to provide resolution of disputed tax and related matters, as there are 4,83,000 cases amounting to over 9 lakh crore rupees related to direct tax pending in different appellate fora, including High Courts and the Supreme Court.
So I would want to assure that the date given 31st March is for payment without any kind of penalty or additional charge or anything of that kind, with additional 10% between 31st March to June 30th, with additional 10% payment over the given formula of the scheme, people can join in. However, the bill, what is important here, is the bill authorizes the government to notify the end date. So depending on how this whole thing is going, based on the suggestions coming from the tax assessees themselves, the notification will be issued subsequently.
Cutting across party lines, members participated in the debate and demanded early implementation of the new direct tax code.
Bill that came out at the time of the budget and what is now in front of us is materially different. I would urge the minister and the government to extend this unconditional cutoff at least till June 30th, so that there's some amount of time for people who are disputants to actually consider what emanates from both houses.
इस V2V स्कीम में इसके 4 पिलर्स हैं बेसिकली. सबसे पहला पिलर है टाइमली सेटलमेंट ऑफ डिस्प्यूट्स. बहुत क्लियरली प्रिस्क्राइब्ड टाइमलाइंस दे रखी है. डेजिग्नेटेड अथॉरिटी कितने टाइम में टैक्स का डिक्लेरेशन होगा, कितने टाइम में ऑर्डर होगा, वो सब एकदम क्लियरली डिफाइंड है. Second, the coverage is very wide.
Central Bank of India, there are PSUs, like Central Bank of India has 9,000 crores, LIC 65,000 crores of dispute, and the government also has other PSUs. How will they mop up?
The competent authority or the designated authority to take a decision only on the basis of the order to be passed by the designated authority. The assessee has to make the payment. So now the time is not available to avail the benefit given under section 3.
तो आप अपील खत्म करना चाहते हैं, आप मामले निपटाना चाहते हैं, लेकिन जो सरकारी कर्मचारी हैं, जो आयकर विभाग के अधिकारी हैं, उनका जो नजरिया है, आखिर वो क्या देख सोच रहे हैं और किस प्रकार का दबाव उनके ऊपर है. खेती तो नॉन टैक्सेबल हुआ करती थी, किसानों को भी नोटिस दी गई.
If an assessee has won at one level, yes, he pays 50%. If he has won at 2 levels, he should pay a little less. If he has won at 3 levels, then it should be negligible. Only then will these disputes be settled. So I hope Madam Finance Minister would take note of that.
So far as clause 9A1, you fix a cap of 5 crores. Why do you fix that 5 crores? Is there any rationality behind this fixing of 5 crores?
Under the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, taxpayers willing to settle disputes shall be allowed a complete waiver of interest and penalty if they pay the entire amount of tax in dispute by March 31st, 2020. Beyond this date, a 10% additional disputed tax shall have to be paid over and above the tax liability. Further, where arrears relate to disputed interest or penalty only, then 25% of disputed penalty or interest shall have to be paid if the payment is made by March 31st, 2020, beyond which the same shall be enhanced to 30%. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Rajya Sabha also passed the Mineral Laws Amendment Bill that paves way for commercial coal mining in the country. Here are the details.
Sir,
the Upper House on Thursday passed the Mineral Laws Amendment Bill 2020. The bill amends the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957 and the Coal Mines Special Provisions Act 2015. Coal Minister Prahlad Joshi said the amendment will help attract more participation in coal block auctions.
We have to produce the coal which is, we have the reserve, and we should see that the import is reduced. By that, we can produce more electricity, and by that, to the extent, we can reduce the import of oil also. The process should be fast-tracked so that our natural resources can be used, and by that the economy will grow. CIL will be strengthened, and I have given the target to the CIL, and new CMD has also come, 1 billion ton production by 23-24.
Participating in the discussion, members underscored the need to increase coal production in the country.
It also allows global players to come in this sector, invest in this sector through the FDI route, and that's the way the FDI is going to be attracted. But the other factors that practically come with the baggage of FDI has to be looked into objectively, and that has not been taken care of in this particular bill.
So it's a very timely ordinance which, Honorable Minister, I really thank you for bringing this, and it has given confidence in the entire steel sector that yes, the government is aware of the issues, it is willing to bite the bullet and willing to take the timely actions.
The government should make sure that the surrounding factors are enabling in nature, like the kind of coal blocks offered, the infrastructure available, the government's ability to ease the regulatory hurdles, such as the process of obtaining clearances and clearing of mining plans and leases.
जब हमारे पास कोल इंडिया कंपनी है, उसको मजबूत करने के लिए सरकार ने क्या उपाय किए हैं, और जो हमारे देश की कंपनियां हैं जो कोल माइंस में काम करती हैं, उनको मजबूत, देसी कंपनी को मजबूत करने के लिए सरकार को उपाय करना चाहिए.
India imported 235 million tons coal worth 1.75 lakh crore rupees last year. Of this, 100 million tons was non-substitutable coking coal. However, the government hopes to stop coal imports by power plants in due course. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The Upper House also passed the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Second Amendment Bill. These amendments seek to remove the ambiguities and streamline the resolution process in the country.
The Upper House on Thursday passed the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Second Amendment Bill. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that the code aims to protect the interests of small investors and financial creditors and ensure ease of doing business in India.
Total cases dealt by NCLT, and I'm giving as on 31st January 2020. M&As are 10,429. IBC related cases are 27,107. Others are 26,987, totaling 64,523. But from among them, cases disposed by NCLT, I just refer to the IBC related ones. Cases totally disposed of by NCLT are 43,102. Only IBC related cases from among the 43,102 are 14,977. And again, the number of cases pending with the NCLT, IBC alone, the total number of pending cases are 21,421, and IBC related in that 21,421 are 12,130.
Members cutting across party lines participated in the discussion and urged the government to protect the interests of home buyers and MSMEs.
Small and micro, medium and small enterprises are now being mandated by law to continue supplying goods and services to a bankrupt company where the risk of default is very high. So the Standing Committee had made an examination of this clause and had unanimously recommended that this clause be deleted.
Sir, in any industry, there are many products, many spares, which are proprietary to a particular company. If that particular spare or component is not supplied by the supplier who has to receive money, let's agree that, then that whole unit will come to a stop. This is not the intention. The basic intent, was, what I understand under IBC, is that the unit should keep running. It should not stop at any cost.
The question of goods and service for survival of the MSME should be, the clause 5, should be examined with proper attention by the Honorable Finance Minister.
पूरी दुनिया में कॉर्पोरेट शार्क्स हैं, इनके बारे में सब लोग जानते हैं. सर आज लोग काम करके नहीं कमा रहे हैं, आज कंपनियों का शिकार करके लोग अपनी पूंजी बढ़ा रहे हैं। किसी एक कंपनी ने, बड़ी कंपनी ने गवर्नमेंट के प्रोटेक्शन में या किसी दूसरी संस्था के प्रोटेक्शन में एक ऐसा सिस्टम बना लिया कि वो अपनी पूंजी बहुत तेजी से बढ़ा ले जा रही है।
So many of the companies, big companies, have huge outstandings of water tax and electricity dues in the states. Now those are state government receipts, those are municipal receipts. Now if you waive those off while when a new management comes, the state government would be left high and dry, the municipal bodies would be left high and dry. Whether that would be acceptable is something that one has to consider.
Almost all 13,200 cases has been disposed of by the IBC. 190 cases involving claims of 3.67 crores were resolved with a realizable amount of around 1.57 lakh crores. Some data is available, but it is really what Jairam ji told, the data that is contradicting this figure. I request the Honorable Minister to clarify the actual data on the IBC.
The Supreme Court had already acknowledged that the home buyers are also a financial creditor and they have got every right to approach the NCLT, and that right is being curtailed by this amendment.
The amendments seek to remove bottlenecks and streamline the corporate insolvency resolution process. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now that's all we had for you in this edition of Parliament This Week. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Rajya Sabha Television.